I see that, I guess, the boundary between tool design, tool building for LLMs, or agentic tool building, if you wish, and agentic orchestration, which is the idea of like having the different nodes or different LLMs act together or collaborate or whatever. This line seems to be blurring a little bit because of these patterns like agents as tools. So if the tool is the interface between two agents, how does this impact the work of people building tools?
Yeah, so I think you're basically asking what is the boundary between agents and tools, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to say something that is going to sound extremely obvious and dumb, but I'm going to explain it. So to me, the fundamental factor differentiating an agent from a tool is agency. By agency, I mean the ability to change course, to make decisions on the fly, depending on inputs in a non-deterministic way. So it requires some level of judgment that cannot be expressed programmatically. So that's agency. And obviously, agents need to have agency. They need to have this sort of freedom to act because the kinds of tasks that they have to accomplish require them to make decisions on the fly, and it cannot be programmed. So tools can also change course. So we can do different stuff inside the tool depending on what inputs are coming in, but it's always deterministic. So it's predictable. So depending on how you change the two inputs, you can predict how the tool is going to behave. And there's this expression, for example, agents as tools, right? That I think blurs this line and can create confusion. I think because it kind of mixes these agency and deterministic versus non-deterministic behavior. So I think maybe we should have expressions like agent composition or agent dependency. So maybe you have a higher level agent that is going to break down a task and call sub agents, let's say. So it's going to depend on other agents to accomplish smaller parts of a task. But those sub-agents are also have their own agency, their own level of freedom to judge what to do depending on the context. And all these agents may also call tools. So if the LLM decides to send a Slack message, we don't want the tool to reason, hey, should I really send this message? Or should I actually send this message to another person? We don't want the tool making these sorts of reasoning inside it. So when we call the tool, we want it to be deterministic. And the agent needs it. And the agent developer, most importantly, needs to know when it's relying on a tool that is deterministic and when it is relying on an agent that is non-deterministic. Because the way it's going to try to anticipate potential failure modes and how they're going to put guardrails in is going to be different, whether it's a tool or it's an agent. So I think it's very important, as Eric said, a tool is already a very overloaded term. And I think we should move towards making it more well-defined. And I think one very important property of tools is determinism. So they are always deterministic and predictable. And agents have this non-deterministic behavior, and they need it. So I think that's a very interesting, very important aspect for us to try to understand and break down what is an agent and what is a tool.
To me, that sounds like, I mean, I agree with having a well defined entity or thing that is the tool that has to be deterministic. However, these patterns are coming up. Like I see agents as tools being built on the same interface that what you call tools are also interacted with, right? So the LLM will make a tool call like a traditional tool call to a deterministic tool, but also using the same interface. It may call a tool, for lack of a better word, I suppose, that has an agent behind it, right? So should we require agents as tools patterns to advertise that they are non-deterministic or have this risk, or like what would you say needs to be added into this channel of communication to disclose like the, hang on, this is an agent, it's not deterministic maybe.
I mean, it sounds like a great opportunity to bring machine experience engineering back into it and provide the language model the context that this tool will be calling out to another language model. It may not be deterministic. This is important context for the language model calling out to that next tool.
That's amazing. So for me, so this means that so machine experience engineering for me was kind of synonymous to agentic tool building, but it's more than that. It's truly like designing or engineering the experience around the LLM, right? It has, regardless of what resource, tool, or agent it interacts with. Is
Right.
that more correct?
Yeah, and it's what's cool about it is it's not just defining an interface that a language model can more easily understand, but also providing a response that a language model can more easily understand.